Every day in our clinics, we see patients who are losing the battle with their own feet, not because we don't have answers, but the answers we have for decades just are not good enough. Diabetic neuropathy steals sensation, invites wounds, and too often leads into amputations. But what if a wearable AI-powered sock can give those patients their feeling back? I am Dr. Yerusalem Lanier, founder of Cutting Edge Foot and Ankle Clinic, and this is MedNation, where we talk to inventors and clinicians and entrepreneurs who are reshaping healthcare from ground up. Today, our guest is building technology that our patients need right now. Welcome to MedNation. Our guest is Dr. Greta Preatoni. Greta, tell us a little bit about you, your background, your schooling, and also why you got into MYNERVA Medical and what you're doing right now.
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm super excited to be here. This is a fantastic opportunity to tell more people about what technologies are out there that can really help them. So, regarding myself, I'm Greta, as you correctly pronounced my name, and surname also. So, kudos to you for that. And I'm the co-founder of MYNERVA. We are a Swiss startup based that is looking to enter the US market very soon. And my background is a bit of a mixture of things. So initially, I have always been very fascinated in general by the brain, how the brain works, how it controls our senses, and I have had this passion of phantom limbs since a very long time because I always thought it was crazy that you could feel sensations in a limb that you have no longer. So initially I started studying psychology, then I did my master's in neuroscience to understand really more the mechanism of the brain, and then I did a PhD in neuroengineering. That's when I moved to Switzerland, where I'm currently based in Zurich and where the company is based. I then did an executive MBA, always here in Zurich, and then I decided to found the company, which today sees a team of 16 fantastic people that are not only super smart but super fun. And yeah, we're really looking forward to bringing this technology to the market.
That is awesome. And it's needed. You know, I'm a podiatrist. I see a lot of patients with neuropathy on a daily basis. And the medication there are I prescribe is it just helps with the symptoms. There's nothing, it can help with their sensation or so it is. I don't know what your sock, AI sock does. I want to learn more about it. If you can walk me and our listeners step by step what the research is and what this, new innovation is doing.
Of course, absolutely. So basically how everything started was during my PhD. The core, let's say, research focus was how can we use electrical stimulation of the nerves to artificially restore the sense of touch. Now, you know much better than I do that one of the main problems in the feet of people that are living with diabetic neuropathy is the complete loss of sensations, partial or complete. And this is a huge problem because neuropathy creates several symptoms. On one side, you have pain symptoms, and on the other side, you have loss of sensation, so positive and negative symptoms. While pain is usually the primary reason to seek for medical attention and where most of the standard of care today focuses on with medications, primary anticonvulsants, so pregabalin, gabapentin, and all of these medications. On the other side, typically patients don't really realize that they're losing the sense of touch in the feet. And this is a huge problem because the fact that they are losing the sensations means a couple of different things. On one side is that, even if you had maybe a small rock in your shoe, you don't feel it. And then if you walk all day long with a rock in your shoe, this creates wounds in your feet that could lead to ulcers that could lead to amputations.
Well, I can tell you several patients with that scenario. They come to me days after, they have gangrene of the whole forefoot. Yeah. And, my question is, well, didn't you see this? Didn't you feel this? No. The only reason I came here is because my wife told me, hey, something smells. So we took my sock off and there's gangrene all over. So the loss of sensation is 100% gone.
Yeah.
For some of our patients,
really crazy. Yeah, and, the fact that you don't feel anything doesn't make you think that there is an issue, right? Some people think that it's an aging process. And even if you didn't have like a rock in your shoe, it's still a huge problem because if you don't have sensations, then your gait ability, so how you walk, is a little bit impaired in the sense that you are gonna distribute the pressure under your foot in a wrong way. And the
Yeah.
more you put pressure in specific points, the more this leads to pressure points, which are the primary reasons why you get ulcers. And so this is a huge, huge thing.
Yeah.
And
It
I
really
didn't
is.
answer to your question on how the sock works. I just
Sorry,
got
I
into
interrupted you.
so yeah, this was just the problem part, right?
Yeah.
So basically, we used our knowledge on how to use electrical stimulation to artificially restore this lost sense of touch. And we managed to do this. So we published also papers in Nature Communications showing that by stimulating the nerves in a specific way and in a specific location, which is our proprietary knowledge, you can restore sensations under the foot. So how we do this is through a sock that we call LEIA. And this LEIA sock has pressure sensors under the sock. And this pressure information while you are walking gets translated into an electrical stimulation that is non-invasive, it's completely pleasant, it's a nice sensation that stimulates your ankle where your nerves are still intact, but the sensation is perceived under the foot, so that we can create kind of a closed loop system where you perceive these so-called somatotopic sensation, which is a very fancy way of saying we restore the sensations under the foot so that you completely have the sense of touch back.
So you restore the sensation of the nerves that are damaged. And what if the nerves are dead?
That's exactly the same. So in the initial part of my PhD, the work in the laboratory was actually focused on the same concept, but for amputees. So what they would do is implant electrodes into the sciatic nerves of transfemoral amputees, so people that didn't have the leg from above the knee. And if you stimulate the nerves there, you recreate sensations in the phantom foot, so in the foot that doesn't exist anymore. So if you can recreate sensations in a phantom foot where the nerves are not only dead, they're not there,
That's
then you
crazy.
can do that. Yeah, that's crazy. It's
That's
crazy.
insane. So which patients respond better for this? All patients with neuropathy, or does it have to be diabetic neuropathy? Does it have to be neuropathy from chemo, or in general
Yeah.
all neuropathy?
So it doesn't have to be diabetic neuropathy per se.
Okay.
Most of our clinical evidence has been collected on diabetic neuropathy, but the cause, let's say that neuropathy per se is a pathology aside of diabetes, because it's basically a damage of the nerves, whether this is caused by diabetes or by chemotherapy or idiopathic neuropathy, that's the same.
Yeah. So this is impressive. So what is the treatment plan? The patients will wear the socks for how long? What does the treatment plan looks like for you guys?
So at the moment, let's say, the instructions for use are to use the device for 30 minutes at alternate days. Because
Okay.
we've seen benefits that last typically between 24 to 48 hours from patient to patient. What I will say is that we're about to start a clinical trial right now in Switzerland. It's a big randomized controlled trial, which is longitudinal. It lasts several months, and this is going to indicate a little bit more if the treatment plan should be different for all of the patients, or if these 30 minutes at alternate days are enough.
Okay. So do you know if this is the temporary treatment, or is it permanent?
So for the moment, based on the clinical data that we've collected, I can say it's temporary, but I can say that we have collected initial evidence that suggests that there's a possibility, at least, that it might be able to revert neuropathy. How do we do this is that we've seen that with the use of our device, patients actually have a better distribution under their feet. So this means two things. On one side, that, as I was saying in the beginning, better pressure distribution means less ulcers, which means less amputations. And on the other side, there has been evidence by other research groups that a continuous, a prolonged electrical stimulation of the nerves promotes the regeneration of the nerves because the oxygen flows better through the microvessels. And so if this were the case, this would mean that a constant use, a continuous use, this would take months, obviously, because we're a non-invasive device, but could even revert the neuropathy. So this is also what we want to see in these clinical trials that we're about to start.
That's incredible. If that could happen, it's incredible. I mean, the amount of amputations we do on a daily basis and will decrease tremendously. So when does the trial starts, and how long does it take?
So the trial starts, so we have our first site initiation visits now in May. So it's starting now. It's an 80 patient randomized controlled trial. So it's controlled. There are several groups that participate in the trial, and it's a 3-month study. So what we want to see is also between, a supervised phase of use versus a home care use, what changes. This is one of the first times that we're giving the device at home use for the patients. So we really want to understand also and learn not only from a clinical perspective, but also from the usability perspective. We've done a lot of focus groups where we understand, is it comfortable? Is the color good? Is the length of the sock enough?
Yeah.
And the feedback that we get is really key, because otherwise, if patients don't like it, there's no compliance, they're not going to use it. And that's it.
So that's true. They need to like it. Otherwise, like you got it. For the most part, in general, humans, if we don't like it, we're not going to use it.
I agree.
For the most part, for these patients, a lot of my patients, especially in one of my city clinic, they don't have much. So is this going to be costing a lot of money for them to use? You don't know you probably have no idea at this point.
Yeah. So our path, let's say our strategy and everything has been built to be able to make this accessible for everybody. So we've incorporated this from the beginning into our strategy, that our device will be reimbursed. So we identified codes that reimburse the device, and we've, let's say, reverse engineered all the rest of our strategy based on the reimbursement codes that we found. So it's not going to be an out-of-pocket device. It's going to be a prescription device. It's going to be reimbursed by the insurance company. And obviously then it depends by the insurance plan of each single patient. But I'm very confident that we can get this reimbursed.
Okay, great. And when you're doing this clinical trial, do you make sure the patients stay within a certain 1C just to help with, nerve damage?
Yeah, so this is something that we've looked into, and we are keeping it constant, because we absolutely, we want to try to reduce at most, as in every clinical trial, the confounding variables. So this is definitely something we want people also to be stable on medications at least for a month prior to the start of the trial, because we've had instances also where patients would give, biased feedback, because maybe the day before they got the stimulation, they changed their medication plan, and then everything, you can't interpret the data.
Yeah. What's the difference between TENS unit and the AI sock? Because a lot of our patients, when the TENS unit came out, and they loved it. They felt like there was some kind of a sensation. They felt like they were gaining their sensory back, and then all of a sudden it doesn't last.
Yeah. So there's a lot of differences, both technological and in terms of approach. So the first difference is that our device is a closed loop system. So TENS units just stimulate. You don't know where to stimulate. You don't know at what intensity. So this is where our algorithms comes in place, right? We have many different electrodes inside, and we stimulate based on the pressure information. And this is all done automatically through a calibration process. There are very complex algorithms behind the solution, but the patient doesn't see anything of this because they don't need to. It just needs to be a simple solution. So this is the first distinction. The second distinction is the parameters of stimulation that we use are very different. So typically you would have in TENS units, they are, fixed parameters of stimulation, while we modulate them, and not only in terms of intensity, but to be, let's say, personalized for each patient treatment. Something that might work for you might completely not work for me. And
Yeah.
something that might work for me today might not work for me anymore in a month from now. So it's
Yeah.
important that you have built inside of your system an algorithm that really learns from your specific usage how to optimize itself for your therapy. And this is really a key distinction. Then the third thing is that we're wearable, while TENS units are not wearable, so you cannot walk around with TENS units, obviously. And in general,
You can walk around for the AI for LEIA. You can use the sock and just walk around for 30 minutes.
absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
great.
So you basically, initially we had a much more complex device than this, and then we said, okay, let's take the risk of becoming a sock, and then sometimes people say, ah, you're the sock company. Yeah, we are the sock. Sometimes it's a little bit misleading because,
Yeah.
if you sell yourself as a sock, then you might say, oh my God, but then this should be super cheap. It's not complex at all.
Very true.
Yeah, but on the contrary, our first, I mean, everything we do is patient-centered. So
Yeah.
the first thing that we want to do is not give something to people that stigmatizes them. We want to give something that is simple to use, and we want to give something that really works. And so this is where the focus groups, the technology, and the patient feedback really comes into place to make sure that our device, we say everybody wears socks, so you might as well wear one that relieves your symptoms. So this is the whole concept behind it.
And then they can just, put shoes on them, on and just walk with the sock, or they just,
Yeah,
yeah, they can. So
yeah.
it's thin enough. So it's thin enough. That's great.
So
That's
you
so good.
actually have also you have an app that is very basic, very simple, but that allows you to do this calibration process that I was talking about with these algorithms, and then you can just use it with or without the app. That depends also on the specific patient.
So is this only targeting the long nerves on the foot? What about, sometimes you have neuropathy on the hand. Can you use the sock for your hand?
That's actually a very good question, and we get that a lot. We know that particularly when it comes to chemotherapy-induced neuropathy, hence can happen even without the feet at times. So right now we have prototypes, but we don't have yet a device for the hands, but we're working on it. So we'll have that too.
This is awesome. I mean, I wish you luck on your search, and 3 months is it's pretty not long, so it's good. So we might have this product on the market sometime next year, or
Indeed.
end of the year. So we are looking forward to it. I'll be the first ones to try it all on all my patients because my patients need it, whether it's temporary or permanent. Whatever you said, you can use it so you don't get those pressure points, you don't get those ulcers. You can save a toe. It's so important. So
Exactly.
I am glad you're doing it, and I was happy to meet you at that conference that we went in California, and I'm so glad I met you. I'll be sending this podcast to all my friends. Everybody should learn about LEIA and support LEIA because you guys gonna need all the support right now. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah. No, thank you so much. It means a lot also because being a Swiss company that's, looking to enter the US market, all the support that we can get from patients who want to try it, clinicians that are just interested in knowing how this works,
yeah.
makes a huge difference for us. So thank you so
Oh,
much.
absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.